Hello students, welcome back to the online classes of physics. This is your name is back again with the topic gravitation. In this class we'll learn about the next topics. That is, in last class we have learned about the universal laws of gravitation, isn't it? In today's class we are going to learn about the free fall. We are going to learn about how the acceleration is independent of mass. Okay, what is free fall actually? See, for example, if I am taking a book and on this book I am placing a paper, small piece of paper. Okay, now just I am just going at some height. Okay, I'm just going at some height, and from there I am throwing this book with paper, that is the book which is having piece of paper on it. I am just throwing from there down onto the earth. Okay, so it is feeling a free fall. It is having a free fall. Now if I throw the book and the paper separately, we will find some difference, isn't it? When we throw a book on paper down onto the earth and throw the paper separately and book separately, there is a lot of difference. Okay, so a body is said to be in a free fall only when the gravitational force acts on that body. For example, if I say, when we are jumping from a height, okay, when we are jumping from a height to the ground, we feel like our body is like weightless, isn't it? We feel like our body is weightless. Similarly, when the book is also thrown down, it appears to be like it's having some weightlessness. So with mass is m, small m is equal to mass of a body, capital M is the mass of the earth, and r is the radius of the earth. So we have learned in our previous class that F is equal to GMM by R square, or you can even say GM1 M2 by R square, isn't it? So we can take this M here to the next opposite side, and we can write F by M is equal to GM by R square. Now this F by M can be given as acceleration, isn't it? Because we have learned by the second law that F is equal to ma. But when we are taking m here, you can say that a is equal to F by m, isn't it? So now you can say that G is equal to Gm by R square. Now you will get confused, ma'am. Just now you said it's acceleration. Now you are saying G. So here we can take G as acceleration. Okay, we are not taking A as acceleration. We are taking G as acceleration here. Okay, in free fall we are taking G as acceleration. So G is equal to Gm by R square. So from this equation we conclude that acceleration is independent of the body's mass, isn't it? So if there is no air friction or resistance, all the bodies would fall with no acceleration, isn't it? Because due to this acceleration and friction, we are falling with some gravitational force. If there is no acceleration, no gravitation, then this acceleration produced due to gravitational force of the earth near the surface is called as free fall acceleration. Okay, so now we will measure this. We'll give the values of, we know mass of the earth is equal to 6.6 into 10 to the power 24 kg, and radius of the earth is 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 kilometers, isn't it? Putting this value into this equation, we are going to get the result value, that is, we will get the value around G is equal to 9.8 meters per second square. Approximately we are going to get this value. So in general, this value of acceleration due to gravity changes due to change in distance of objects from the center of the objects. Since free fall acceleration is constant near the ground, the equation of uniform accelerated motion can be used for the case of free fall body. Okay, we can use the equation of uniform acceleration which we have learned in the lesson motion acceleration. There we have learned some formulas, right, which I said they are important, isn't it? We have learned that some equations like v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus s half at square, v square minus u square is equal to 2as, isn't it? I hope you all remember. So using these equations of uniform acceleration, motion can be, you know, used for the case of free fall body. So let us once again revise these equations. That is, v is equal to v plus I wrote v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, v square minus u square is equal to 2as. So while solving problems related to free objects, we use this g instead of a in these equations. Okay, wherever we are writing a, there we are going to use g. Okay, wherever you are writing a in this free fall problems, wherever we are doing free fall problems, there what we are doing, we are just writing instead of a, there we are writing g, and we are substituting the value of g in place of a, and we are going to get the problems. When we use these equations, you must follow the sign conventions. It is compulsory. So as we are going to learn about the direction of G, here you can see that the ball you are throwing up, it will go into the air and come down to the earth, isn't it? If you take a stone also, if you're throwing up into the air, what will happen again? It will come back to the earth. So throw a stone vertically up, then measure the time using the stop clock. You just see the time period taken by the stone to come back to the earth surface. When the stone moves out, its velocity decreases. What happens? Its velocity decreases gradually, and finally it becomes zero. Simply it becomes zero at this point, okay, and becomes zero. Then because it is moving against the direction of gravitation, isn't it? Because it is moving against the direction of gravitation, what is happening? The velocity is again decreasing. Okay, the velocity is decreasing, and as the gravitation, why the velocity is decreasing means because it is moving against the force of gravitation. Okay, when its velocity becomes zero, it starts to fall back again to the ground. Okay, and again its velocity increases. As it reaches ground, its velocity increases. So here you can see, here the velocity is high. Okay, when it reaches to the into the air, it becomes very far from the gravitation force, and that's why its velocity will become zero. Again when it comes back to the earth surface, the velocity will become again high. Okay, so while the stone is moving up, the direction of acceleration in upward direction, which is against to the direction of gravitational force. While the stone is coming down, the direction of acceleration is in downwards direction, which shows in the direction of the gravitational force. So there is a question, another question, that can we measure the weight of the body? Yes. So it's nothing but we are going to take a spring balance and suspend it to the ceiling and put some weight to it. Okay, simply we are just going to take a spring balance, and to it what we are going to do, we are just going to fix it to the ceiling, and we are going to just add weight to it. Okay, we are just going to add the weight to it. Fine. So what is happening? Note the reading of the spring balance. Now drop the spring balance with the load from certain height or to fall freely. Okay, what we are doing, we are just allowing, first what we are doing, we are taking a spring balance and we are suspending. As you can see in this picture, I have added a clear picture to for your view. So what we are doing, just we are simply take a spring balance and suspend it to the ceiling and put some weight to it. Note the reading and of the spring balance. Now drop the spring balance with a load from certain height to the fall freely. So carefully observe the change in the position of the indicator and spring balance scale while it is in free fall. We observe that the indicator of the spring balance shows 0 while it is in the free fall. This is due to the weightlessness of a free fall body. For example, if you are like jumping from some height, okay, if you are jumping from height, how do you feel? You feel very free, isn't it? You feel like you are weightless, you don't have any weight into your body, isn't it? Similarly, we will just take the spring balance with the load and we will just throw from some height. what do we observe? We observe that the spring balance, which was first showing some weight, now it is showing 0. Now when it is in the air, that is when it is falling freely, it is showing 0. What it is showing? It is showing 0 value. Okay. So here there is another question saying that do you observe any change during the free fall? So let us observe the change during the free fall. What we are doing, we are just taking a transparent tray and make two holes on both the sides. Simply we are going to take a tray and we are going to make holes on both the sides here. Okay, this should be transparent. And what we are doing now, take 2 or 3 rubber bands and tie tightly close to each other between the holes. Okay, just simply we are going to tie 2 to 3 rubber bands like this. Okay, and simply we are going to leave it. Now place a stone on this band. Simply place a stone on this band. We observe that the band bends due to the weight, isn't it? When you place the stone onto this band, you will observe that the stone bends. This one, the rubber band bends due to the weight of the stone, isn't it? Then now drop the tray with the stone. Now simply you take this tray and drop it into the air. Okay, just you leave it down. Then what do we observe? The band, rubber bands, whatever is present, they are straight, they do not bend. Why? Because they are in a free fall. Okay, they are in a free fall. Simply you're taking the tray, and you're leaving like this. Okay, so whatever rubber band you have tied here onto the tray, it will just remain straight, it don't bend with the weight. Within when in equilibrium in on a firm surface, weight is evidenced by a support force, then weight equals to mg. Okay, when the body falls freely, then it experiences some weightlessness. Even in the weightlessness condition, there is still a gravitational force acting on the body, causing downward acceleration, isn't it? So when the body is coming down, it is facing some downward acceleration and it is falling down. Even when it is falling down also, it is facing some acceleration force, but the rubbers become straight. Even with the act of the this forces, we need to, there must be a balance also. Without balance they cannot combine. So if you need a better combination, we have to have a better balancing also. So we'll see how the balancing is done. So here we'll see how the spoon and the fork can be balanced with each other. As shown in the figure here, you can see that the figure we have to arrange a fork and spoon in this manner. Okay, we have to just put the fork and spoon like this, and wooden matchstick also together. In this, what we have to, in fork we should keep wooden matchstick like this, and in this between you should just put the spoon. Okay, the combination will balance nicely on the edges of the glass. The weight of the spoon and the fork will pass through the center of the gravity and the base gets balance. Okay, simply just the weight of the spoon and the fork will just pass through each other. Then you can see that the center of the gravity, whatever you have, the center of the gravity, when the fork and spoon is getting balanced like this, simply you can see that this is balanced, the center of the gravity is balanced. Okay, and the base of the glass. Fine. In the second balancing, you can see that, can you get up without that? Whenever you sit on a chair, can you get up without bending your legs or without bending your body? Can you get up? No, we cannot get up. We are not able to do so, because without bending our body or legs, we cannot get up from the chair. We should bend to make the stability by shifting the center of friction, that is center of gravity, and base in a line. We have to just fix the center of gravity and base in a line, then only we'll be able to stand up, isn't it? So when I say center of gravity, what is center of gravity? The point, suppose this is your, what did I say? Spoon. Okay, spoon and fork. Okay, this is your spoon and fork. The point where the total weight appears to act, the point where the total weight of this spoon and the fork appears to act is called as center of gravity. What it is called? Center of gravity. It is called center of gravity. The point where the total weight appears to act is called as the center of gravity. So how are we going to locate the center of gravity? Nothing but we are just going to take a meter scale. Then what we are going to do is suspend it from the various points. Simply just we are going to suspend it from various points. We observe that it bends to one side. Suspend it from the midpoint, we observe that the scale will be in horizontal position to any side. Okay, like I shown in the figure here, this scale, we are going to take this scale, and if you start, suspending it from this side, one end, you will see that the balance is going to, this side. If you suspend from this end, you'll see that balance is going to this side. But if you keep in the middle, for example, if I take this, okay, I'll take this scale. Simply I'll take this scale. If I try to balance it from this side, it will fall like this, isn't it? If I try to balance it from this side, then it will fall like this side, isn't it? If I balance it from this side, it will fall this side. Then if I balance it from center, if I take the center of the scale and I try to balance, if I take the center of the scale and I try to balance, it will balance, isn't it? If you can just hold also like this, isn't it? So always center of the scale is required to take the balance. So this is nothing but this. First we have to find out where is the center of the gravity, where is the center which is going to be balance the weight. That is nothing but center of gravity. How we are going to locate it, isn't it? At this point the scale behaves as it enters into the entire weight of the its entire weight is concentrated at this point. The support given at this single point gives support to the entire scale, and this point is nothing but the center of gravity. Okay, to balance anything we need to first find out the center of gravity, the point where it can be balanced easily. Okay, for example, if I take this eraser also, if I say if it is a ring also, if it is eraser, any path it is, okay, if it is in circle or if it is in in this cylindrical form, anything it is, if I hold this here, is it going to able to balance? No, it will fall down. If I hold it here, will it able to balance? No, it will fall down. But if I am holding here in the center, you can see that this point is going to balance whole rubber on my, that is eraser on my finger, isn't it? So this point is your center of gravity. Fine, this point is your center of gravity, where the eraser is getting balanced on my finger. That is nothing but the center of gravity. Here we will see with the center of gravity and its effect. We'll take the example of, like, we are standing when we are bending. Okay, when we are touching our toes, how are we able to touch our toes when we are standing? When we are bending like this, as shown in the figure, when you are bending like this, you are able to shove. In first figure you can see you are able to touch your toes, while in the second you can see that when you are standing, you are taking the support of the wall, you are not able to touch the toes, isn't it? So in this first position, the center of the gravity is at place near the center of the backbone. Your gravity, the center of the gravity is at the backbone. You can see that the center of gravity position where you can locate it is at backbone. Okay, whereas in the second position where you are taking the support of the wall, you cannot bend there the support, or that is the center of gravity will be at the center of gravity. You can locate that near to the abdomen. Okay, it can be located near to the abdomen. Fine. So I hope you have understood very well. This is nothing but we can say the stability. The location of the center of gravity is important for the stability. To maintain the stability, we need the center of the gravity. Okay, if we draw a line straight down from the center of the gravity of an object of any shape and it falls inside the base of the object, then the object will be stable. If the line through the center of the gravity falls outside the base, then the object will be unstable. That is nothing but if it is outside the gravity, outside the center, outside the base of the object, then it is unstable. If you maintain it inside the inside the, or through the center of the gravity falls inside, that is nothing but the, we can prove the stability. Fine, with this I end up the lesson. I hope it was useful. I hope it is understandable. If it is not, please go to the video twice and thrice and try to understand the topic, and wait for the next class till we meet. Okay, thanks for watching.